championship.
No, I think it's a mistake to trade for James Harden. They have a good thing going in Miami with young ascending players in a mix with established excellent players. They have a great culture. You hear about James Harden being enabled in Houston, showing up late for, because the team can't take off. They have to wait for him. He's going to party on off days and stuff like that. It wouldn't be the same in Miami. And because of that, I don't think it would be a great fit. You could argue that, in fact, that'll help James Harden, that Miami culture, but I don't know how he fits in there. And I wouldn't take the chance. By the way, his defense has gotten better and better. I'm not arguing that Harden's not a hard worker on the floor. Once upon a time, that was true on the defensive end. I think he's made real strides there. But I don't see him as a fit on a Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra team, especially when you consider how many times has Harden had a teammate where they had, it couldn't work after a little while. Harden needs the ball in his hands. And even when it's his dude, it doesn't work after one season. Westbrook, it didn't work. Chris Paul, it didn't work. Why would it work in Miami? I would be leery if I were the Heat.
Not me. I would make that move in a heartbeat. And look, I have all respect for Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and whatever else they was offering in the package to get James Harden. But if you had a chance, if I'm the Miami Heat and I had a chance to pair James Harden up with a Jimmy Butler and a Bam out of the Bayou, I do that in a heartbeat. And I get it, right? Everybody is worried, we talking about South Beach, we talking about King of Diamonds, we talking about Club 11, and that's cool. The good thing about it is that he's right there in Miami. He will be at home, so he could go there early in the daytime, and you wouldn't have to worry about him catching flights. So he'll be just fine. And by the way, when you talk about the culture, of the Miami Heat, when you remember I was telling you, Max, that they would sign the guy back by the name of Udonis Haslem, who's from Dade County, who's from Miami, who's the OG of the NBA, who's a guy that's not to be messed with, that holds guys accountable, is one guy that James Harden will listen to in that locker room, and one guy that he will respect is Mr. Miami, and that's Udonis Haslem. So I love Pat Riley. I love Eric Spoelstra. I love the Miami Heat culture. But I think they dropped the ball. I would have traded for James Harden in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't even thought twice about it.
Yeah, I think you normally go talent over culture, especially in this league, and I'm not sure why the obsession with draft picks, so few draft picks pan out to help your team. I'm not sure why that's holding them up, but I think that what they have in Miami is something different. I personally wouldn't make the James Harden trade because I know, Perk, you were talking about things your grandmother taught you earlier. So my grandmother told me this, and she probably stole it from Maya Angelou, but when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. We know who James Harden is. And what Miami is, the Heat organization, maybe the city of Miami seems compatible with James Harden. But what the Heat are does not seem like it is compatible with James Harden. I don't know him personally. I just know the articles that we have all read. And I respect UD. Everyone respects Udonis Haslem down there. But you can't change a person. You can influence a person, but UD's not going to make him into somebody he's not. And I would understand if this was their only chance at a superstar. There'll be another superstar who wants to move real soon. It happens every 6 months in the NBA. Wait around and get the right one because he's not it.
Yeah, when you get a chance to, he showed us who he is. He showed us that he's a guy that could lead the league in scoring, averaging 30-plus a night and finish in the
like
MVP
him with
conversation.
Bam and Jimmy Butler.
Dominic,
he had Chris Paul and Clint Capella.
That is a Maya Angelou quote. I always struggled with it. I gave people too many chances.
Superstar in his era. He was on the cusp of going from that to an all-time great. If he would have won a championship last year, we would have been talking about him like that. You were already talking about him like that. He stands to gain the most. If he's able to win a championship right now, we will put him up there with LeBron of all time. We might even talk about him as being part of the Jordan-type conversation. But he stands to gain the most. LeBron can't gain anything because y'all not going to give it to him. He knows how great he is. We know how great he is. But he's not going to be able to pass Jordan because you guys won't let him.
Hold on. Tom. Here's the problem. There are two things. There are two things. Wait, you made a bad analogy. You asked who's my favorite. Ghost is my favorite. I'm not arguing he's the best. You can convince me he's not the best.
Okay.
If you ask me who's the best, I'm going to say Jay-Z, and I'll come with an argument that's going to shoot down any argument you bring, just like I'll say Jordan, and Jordan's going to actually win the debate. I'm saying you're claiming it's subjective.
The point is it's a matter of opinion.
It's a little less subjective
the point is it is subjective.
Number one. Number two. Oh, okay, it is somewhat subjective. Number two.
When you get to a certain level, it's completely subjective. They're both at that level. It is now subjective.
I disagree.
I mean,
Kawhi Leonard needs a championship, but we acknowledge he's not in a position with a teammate, with a crime partner that's going to help him get it. So the pressure is actually not on Kawhi, like on LeBron, who's not only acknowledged as the best player in the game, but as a teammate who some people will tell you is the second best player in the game. That combination, the two best players, always win the championship. History of the NBA.
But Max, Max, again, you're moving the goalposts because Molly asked the question of which player needs to win a title this year. LeBron James don't need to win a title this year. Just because they're the heavy favorite, that don't mean that he needs to win a title, especially a guy who just came off of winning the championship. Max, I can name 5 guys that need to win a championship this year before LeBron James. And like to
spoken like a dude who's not a Lakers fan.
Kawhi Leonard
spoken like a dude
of,
who's not a Lakers fan. You think Lakers fans care if you win one only because you can't three-peat before you win the first one? What do you mean?
Let me help you, Max. You need some help.
Of course LeBron has to win.
You need some help. The argument that you should be making, and I just feel bad because I'm listening to you toil away with these nonsense arguments. The argument that you should be making is LeBron falling short actually hurts his legacy. You're arguing that he needs it to catch up with Jordan. You're not arguing that if he loses it, then it's a strike against him. That is a reasonable argument to make. Though I don't agree with it, that's an argument to make. But LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is he's already gotten to Jordan level, and he's gotten to Jordan level, and now what differentiates Jordan from LeBron is your opinion. You grew up listening to Wu-Tang. You love Ghostface. I grew up listening to Nas, Jay-Z, and Mixtape Wayne. Those are my favorites. You can't tell me nothing about Kendrick Lamar. He may be better, but you can't convince me.
Yeah, you're talking about the difference between favorite and best.
You don't have the self-awareness to realize that you're doing the same thing. All the arguments I can make just as many arguments for why LeBron is the greatest that you can make about why Jordan is the greatest.
But the conversation wasn't about
across the sports landscape. If you ask me across the sports landscape who's the greatest in each sport, it's not going to be everyone I grew up with. Jordan, in fact, is the only athlete whose era I lived through that I'd say that's the greatest of all time in their sport.
Okay.
I don't when I was a kid growing up. Like I don't say that in football. I don't say that in boxing. I don't say that in baseball. So I don't agree. It's just my personal preference.
Get him, Perk.
Okay, Max, I get that, but that wasn't the call. We're not talking about GOAT talk. We asked what player needs to win a championship this year, needs the title the most. It's not who's the GOAT. LeBron don't have to win the title. He do. You mean to tell me a guy in his 18th season who just came off a championship, he needs the title this, he needs the title the most? Out of all the players you could have named, you said LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, Perk, let's talk about what needs the most means.
No, you're right.
That means needs the most means.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. When you told us to hold on to our seats, you was absolutely right because I almost got up and walked.
Needs the most means you have the most to gain. You have the most to lose. If it doesn't happen, you're in a situation where it's expected of you. Expectation plays in. James Harden is in a situation where the expectation at this moment is 0 that he's supposed to win a championship. If KD does it, that's amazing. He has a huge amount to gain, but it's not expected of him to do it this year. Same thing with the Freak. Same thing with Kawhi. The expectations on LeBron are that he will win the championship this year, which means he has the most to lose. And then also, Dom, when I talk about what he has to gain, that's in addition to what he has to lose. He has one of the best teammates in the world on his team. They just won. They got better in the offseason. They're the odds-on favorite, just the favorites to win the whole thing. Yeah, he's got to win.
Hey, Molly, before you wrap, Molly, I'm just going to say this old saying that my grandparents used to say to Max, God bless his heart, because he don't know no better. He really don't.
Bless his heart, bless his soul, have mercy.
This is as good as
I'm
I
with
know.
you.
That's true.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, LeBron needs to win.
And
LeBron
Ghostface.
needs to make more money. LeBron
Ghostface.
needs to help the community more, needs to start more companies, star in more movies.
Yeah.
There goes my background. All right, let's get this full screen up, why I fixed that. So let's take a look at the odds to win MVP this